The way electoral college votes are awarded might be changing, and it might benefit Donald Trump. Nebraska's Republican Governor Jim Pillen has endorsed a shift to a winner-take-all approach for the state's 2024 general election. As of today, Nebraska and Maine are the only states that split their electoral votes by congressional district. Joining us now, NBC News national political correspondent Steve Kornacki. So explain this to us, Steve. Why would this change the calculus for both President Trump and President Biden?
Yeah, it's one electoral vote, but it could be very significant. Just take a look. This is where things ended in 2020. Biden winning 306-232. One thing to keep in mind, just because of the census reapportionment since 2020, some states gained electoral votes, some states lost. This same combination of states for each candidate, if you reran it under the new math, it would now be Biden 303, Trump 235. So just by population change, Trump would start out with 3 more electoral votes than he finished with last time. Now take a look here. We've been saying if Trump's going to beat Biden, what's his most efficient path? So it would be winning the states that were the closest that he lost. The closest it would be Arizona, about 10,000 vote margin there, just if here. But if Trump got Arizona, the second closest would be Georgia. If Trump got Georgia, be 262. Now, that's where things get interesting, because as it stands right now, to get over 270, he'd have to win one of these bigger Big Ten states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. But watch this, because the Trump campaign thinks it can flip Nevada. It lost by about 2 points in 2020. Republicans are really bullish about their future there demographically. Let's say Trump, instead of winning anything in the industrial states here, let's say Trump was able to get Nevada. Under the current math, that would be close, but he would just miss. He'd be at 268, and that's where this potential change in Nebraska comes in. You can see the stripes here. That means Biden did get that electoral vote in 2020. But if Nebraska goes to winner take all, that district that went blue around Omaha in 2020 doesn't matter. The whole state would be red. All 5 electoral votes would go to Donald Trump, and look at that. It would then be a 269-269 tie. That would go to the House of Representatives. Each state, not each member, each state would get a vote in the House of Representatives, and Republicans are likely to control more state delegations than Democrats. So the expectation is that if it ever ended 269, go to the House, it would be advantage Trump. So that's the significance of Nebraska. If that happens, Trump can get the presidency with Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and he wouldn't have to touch one of these big, formerly known as blue wall states.
Explain it to me like a normal liberal.
We are the only show that starts off your morning with a laugh and a pep in your step. Explain it to me like a liberal. That actually ties in beautifully this morning into our open. Today is Thursday, April 4th, 2024. Donald Trump teams up with Republicans in Nebraska, a dark red state, in order to muscle over the finish line a massive shift in how we count electoral votes that could win him the election. This, ladies and gentlemen, is some hot stuff. Donald Trump on track to get $43 million in one night, nearly doubling the haul that Joe Biden had on his historic night of fundraising in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be very, very interesting. The largest political fundraiser in history set to happen this weekend. And the mastermind behind the chess, not checkers strategy with electoral votes, not the RNC, not the overpaid political consultants, but one Charlie Kirk, who will join the show very soon to talk about it. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always happens in my family, it's a rainy day, right? It's rainy season here in Florida. If you're in the South, or if you're experiencing like anything on the East Coast right now, it's like rain. It was like raining all day. My wife takes the kids to Chick-fil-A, lets them play on the little playground inside at Chick-fil-A, and everyone gets the sniffles, right? Because the playground at Chick-fil-A is like the Wuhan laboratory, okay? There's like every disease known to man is in that thing. And so everyone gets a little sniffle. I get a little stuffy, all right? And that's why I'm really glad that we've partnered with the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company is an amazing kit, an amazing product that keeps us safe in case of, I don't know, H1N1. Looks like the new Black Swan event just dropped, right? Maybe that's what I have. I don't know. Apparently there's bird flu now, right? We were waiting. What's it going to be? It's going to be bird flu? Yeah. Be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Contact the Wellness Company to make sure that you have emergency kits on hand. Those emergency kits have an assortment of life-saving medications, a guidebook for safe uses, a lot of the emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that they said were big no-nos. Yeah. All right. And like tried to lock you down from getting. Make sure you have them this time. Go to twc.health/Benny. That's twc.health/Benny and enter the code Benny for 10% off. That's twc.health/Benny. Make sure that you are prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, we are prepared, this program, with a very interesting look at the media landscape, given a brand new strategy that has appeared over the last couple of days from our friend Charlie Kirk. Now, Charlie Kirk ran the numbers and did the math. Why it falls to Charlie to do this, I don't know. We'll ask him. He'll be on the show in a second. But he did the math, and he said, hey, hold up. Like, there's a missing electoral vote from a red state that should go to Donald Trump. And that's a very interesting strategy, and we're going to talk all about it, all right, on the program. But here's how we know Charlie's over the target. The way you know Charlie's over the target is you watch the reaction from the libs, okay? So if something's infected, when you press on it, it hurts. Ow, right? Ow. If your kid, like my kid, every kid these days has too many toys. Maybe you had too many toys growing up. I'm not sure. But you probably had a favorite toy, right? Take the favorite toy. For me, it was a blanket. I had a blanket. It was my favorite thing, blanket. All right, my kids have favorite toys, right? My youngest daughter, her favorite thing is actually a blanket. She calls her a baby. You take that away from her, she gets really angry, okay? You can tell the value of things for people when you start taking them away, all right? When you're really over the target, people freak out. They scream, they cry, and they get really, really protective. Now, clearly, libs have baked into the cake the weak, bitchy, corrupt Republican Party and have said that's enough to win in 2024. We don't need Joe Biden to be strong. We just need Republicans to be weak and to be stupid and to start handing out electoral votes, ladies and gentlemen. And what's happening now, and we've been sort of cataloging this for the last couple of years, is we're waking up. The party's being like shaken out of the malaise of the Bush era, McCain era, Romney era. That's what I've lived through my entire life, right? I was born at the very end of the Ronald Reagan era, which was technically like handed off to the Bush era. My entire life, I've lived with weakness in the Republican Party. Republicans who don't fight fire with fire, tooth and nail, who don't buckle down and say, we're going to be smart. We're not going to be dumb. We're going to be smart about how we win. We're going to actually strategize. We're going to leave it up to chance. And so now that there is a smart and hardcore and activist Republican Party that is willing to actually do the work to win, that's why we love guys like Scott Presler. It's like why we love guys like Charlie Kirk, who's able to look at the landscape and, well, why the hell are we doing things like this, right? Not known losers like Rana. We'll get to Rana. Believe that. Well, then you start seeing the libs lose their freaking minds. They start freaking out, right? And they're doing that right now. So you just have to watch the reactions, right? Take the toy from, your kid, whatever the toy is, take it away. And if they really love that toy, they'll lose their minds, scream, right? Like, for instance, a good example of this is, let's watch Donald Trump get sworn in as president, okay? Did the libs like that? Here we go. Let's watch it together. Here's the reaction of the lib.
Opposition. Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away.
Nope, they didn't like it. You can tell. It's cataloged on camera. Oh, man. Where is this person? Where is this person today? I want to know. I've told my producers, hunt this person that don't know their name, don't know where they're from. I got to get them on the show. What happened to Screaming Lip? What happened to this person? I got to know. I'll fly him down. Let's have him in the studio. I must find out. Okay. I don't think there's enough money in the world for the dividend checks that this person deserves for the amount of time that they've been memed and then played on our show.
Position. Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president.
And so that's what libs are doing. So you can tell, right, that hurt their feelings. Okay? It's pretty evident. Ladies and gentlemen, you can tell they're scared, right? It's really obvious, and it's leading up to a point here, which is that they have this sort of outsized freak out right now over what is happening in Nebraska. And so we're going to prove that we're sort of over the target here. And there are a bunch of polls that came out this weekend showing that Donald Trump is leading in all of the swing states. How does Jill Biden react to that when asked? It's really quite interesting. It shows that they're very scared, right? Check this out.
Polls like the Wall Street Journal one land in the White House, and he's losing in all the battleground states.
No, he's not losing in all the battleground states. He's coming up, and he's even or doing better. So, you know what? Once people start to focus in and they see their two choices, it's obvious that Joe will win this election.
All right.
It's obvious. Isn't it amazing? Look at her face. Look at her face. What a witch. It's obvious. Can you play just the first part of this again? This dude who's like a Democrat super donor, liberal reporter on CBS just snaps at him, right? Just snaps at him.
Polls like the Wall Street Journal one land in the White House, and he's losing in all the battleground states.
No, he's not losing in all the battleground states. He's coming up, and he's even or doing better. Okay. So, you know what? Once
okay. You can tell it hurts because of their reaction, right? You can tell. Check this out. This is like really interesting stuff, right? So you have Joe Biden running for president, and Joe Biden's asked about Second Amendment. It's like a famous clip. And it's amazing. They released COVID as soon as this clip hit the internet. Joe Biden was asked, hey, why are you trying to take our guns from an auto worker in a union, right? His name's Jerry Wayne. And you can really see that Joe Biden clearly wants to take all of our guns. And Joe Biden was angry that he was called out on that.
Enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish our Second Amendment right and take away our guns.
You're full of
All right, thank you guys.
Shush.
Shush.
I support the Second Amendment. Second Amendment, just like right now, if you yell fire, that's not free speech. And from the very beginning, I have a shotgun, I have a 20 gauge, a 12 gauge, my son's hunt. Guess what? You're not allowed to own any weapon. I'm not taking your gun away at all. You need 100 rounds.
So when you were at Beto, when you said you're going to take our guns, that
I
means
did
what?
not say that. That's not true. I did not say that.
It's a viral video.
It's a viral video like the other ones they're putting out that are simply a lie.
Your voice, you said that you're taking the guns.
Well, he just clarified it. Wait.
Hey,
take your AR-14s.
Okay, this is not okay.
Hold on.
All right.
Hey, let's
don't tell me this. I want to go outside.
There's a lot of guys.
Hey, you're wanting me, man.
I'm not worried.
Hold on. So much.
Give me a break, man. Don't be
You're
such a horse
pushing
ass.
up on me.
Oh, man. It's just gold. Don't be such a horse's ass. I don't work for you. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it amazing? Look how furious Joe Biden got. Look how angry he got. You can see his jaw lock up, right? You can see his squinty eyes get more squinty. And this clip is like 5 years old now. Imagine how much worse it's gotten. You want to know what Joe Biden hasn't done an interview in 300 days? Joe Biden hasn't done a live interview in 300 days because of this. Imagine how much worse it's gotten. This was 6 years ago. Sitting there talking about AR-14s, saying his sons hunt. I mean, dude, I'm not trying to like be a dick, but Beau Biden isn't around. Beau Biden's not around anymore. Like, according to her report, Joe Biden forgot when his son died. Like, did Joe Biden just talk about Hunter Biden and his firearm use? Well, Hunter Biden may go to prison for 25 years for owning a gun. That's one of the federal charges against him. Lying on his federal NICS form that he wasn't addicted to mainline narcotics. So Joe Biden just like gave up his son here? My sons hunt. My sons have a bunch of guns. Yeah, they're going to prison for it. And your other son, he passed away. What the hell's wrong with you, dude? Like, you can tell. They snap, right? They snap. It's human nature. Joe Biden's calling a guy fat. So I would never do it. But Joe Biden calls a voter fat, challenges him to push-up competitions, right?
Access to the president. So you're selling access to the president just like he is. So you're
a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that. No one has ever said that.
I see it on the TV.
You see it on the TV. No, I really do. And by the way, that's why I'm not sedentary. I don't like it up and let it go. Let it go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people now. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on, let's do push-ups together, man. Let's do what's wrong. Let's do whatever you want to do. My son has done everything wrong, and I did not on any occasion. And no one has ever said it. Now,
I didn't say you were doing anything wrong.
You said I set up my son to work in an oil company.
Correct.
Isn't that what you said?
That's exactly what you
said,
did,
Jack.
That's what I read here on MSNBC.
Oh, we don't hear that on MSNBC. We did not hear that at all. What you heard? Look. Okay, I'm not going to get around with you, man.
Well, I don't want to.
Well, yeah, you do, but look, here's the deal.
Look, fat. You can tell that he's angry. You can tell because he knows. The guy's calling out his son, the oil company, Ukraine, Burisma. Like, these are the Democrat voters that knew this. And you can see that Joe Biden is panicking. And that's why people are panicking about Joe Biden now. We didn't play this enough on the show, but last night Hillary Clinton's on TV saying that there shouldn't be an election. Do you think it's panic time right now? Hillary Clinton saying, I don't know why there should be an election. Jill Biden screaming at the CBS News reporters. Do you think they're worried? Yeah, they're worried. Hillary Clinton.
I don't understand why this is even a hard choice, really. I don't understand it. But we have to go through the election, and hopefully people will realize what's at stake, because it's an existential question. What kind of country we're going to have, what kind of democracy we're going to have, and people who blow that off are not paying attention.
So, okay. First off, someone like Hillary Clinton, given her husband's history, shouldn't be using terms like blow off, but it's, water under the bridge, I guess. It's just Bill Clinton painted in the blue dress in Epstein's house. Just that guy. Nonetheless, Hillary Clinton saying, I guess we have to have the election, I suppose. Formality. Right? Angry that they even have to have the election. Like, when was the last time? Whatever happened to running from behind? Run like you're running from behind. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to, like, run as though, like, you need to earn every vote? In a system where they believe that it's been rigged in their favor and they don't have to earn jack. Well, then they can act like this, actually. Jill Biden can flash out, Joe will win. Like, who, in what election have you ever, this isn't a normal election. That's what's so interesting. This isn't a normal election. In what election have you ever seen a candidate act like this? Well, I guess we have to have the election. Do you ever heard Donald Trump talk like that in 2020, 2016? I guess we have to have the election. I guess it's formality. It's already done. Cake's been baked. Everything's been wired. Jill Biden. No, we're going to win. Like, in what world does like that sound like a candidate that's trying to win a vote, right? Doesn't. It sounds like panic to me. And it sounds like they've tried to rig the game. And now somebody's pissing in the punch bowl, as they say, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Kirk figured something out that is quite fascinating. And as far as I know, and I know Charlie pretty well, this came from Charlie just studying the electoral map and looking for weak points, right? Or stupid strategies. And Republicans have plenty of those. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is Charlie's initial sort of salvo across the deck here, right? Here's the first cannonball fired by Charlie. And we'll just go through it really quickly because it's nicely laid out. Suppose Trump flips Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada next fall, as he's on track to do. Okay, so the polls say. As current polls show him doing. Would he win the presidency? Not quite. In fact, Trump flips all those states. He loses by 1 electoral vote. Why? Nebraska. Dark red state. I'm from Iowa. Know Nebraska really well. Not a lot of libs in Nebraska. Nebraska votes by like 50 points for Donald Trump. So why is Nebraska giving a vote to Joe Biden? Despite being one of the most Republican states, Nebraska awards its electoral votes by congressional districts instead of winner take all. Thanks to this system, Omaha's electoral vote leans blue. Omaha obviously is where all the universities are. It's where all the libs live. Obama won it in 2008. Biden won it in 2020. And will likely win it again this year. California would never do this. New York would never do this. I mean, could you imagine if California and New York did this? You know how red New York actually is? New York, the entire state is like one blue dot. Manhattan, the rest of the state's red. Long Island's red, right? California, tons of California. There's tons of red counties in California. They're doing their best to like try and eliminate them. But there's tons of red counties in California. Do you think California would gladly give 20 electoral votes to Donald Trump? Or New York would gladly give 15 electoral votes to Donald Trump? Of course not. It's insanity. As long as this is the case, neither should we. This is completely fixable. The Nebraska legislature should act to make sure their state's electoral votes go forward, electing the candidate with the vast majority of Nebraska prefers. It's already a bill ready to go in Nebraska. All Nebraska has to do is vote on this. As I write this, the Nebraska legislature is still in sessions. Nebraskans call their legislatures and demand this happen. And call, obviously, the governor and say, you want it fixed. Okay, so Charlie Kirk says that. And then lo and behold, some very interesting things begin to happen. Donald Trump endorses the move. Donald Trump endorses the strategy. The governor of Nebraska, Governor Jim Pillen, says, I actually support this bill. Governor Pillen says, I support the winner take all, or urges senators to bring the bill to his desk. So now this bill is apparently going to be brought up in the Senate, and there is critical mass that is being created in favor of this strategy. This strategy is now causing some very interesting freakouts for libs. Apparently, there's a lib that has switched parties in Nebraska and has now joined the Republicans. GOP now has a filibuster-proof majority in the legislature after a Democrat flips party, meaning they can just pretty much pass whatever they want. And so a lot of good energy in our favor. Senators are beginning to endorse this, like the Senator Ricketts from Nebraska is beginning to endorse. And the GOP chairman from Nebraska is saying, yes, thank you. Thank God for you coming to our aid and finally making this a big issue. We've been trying to do this for a long time. Check out this clip, ladies and gentlemen, from Charlie's show. This is the GOP chairman from Charlie's show. Alex, do we have this clip? No? Let me know in the script. What is it? GOP chairman from Charlie's show. If not, then let's definitely add. No, apparently not. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this went viral yesterday. There you go. Pop that in there. This went viral yesterday. The GOP chairman from Nebraska saying, we've been trying to do this for years. Guess who stopped us? The Republican Party. Okay, so I got two things we're gonna go at here. All right. One, the Republican Party is the reason why this hasn't happened and why we're handing precious electoral votes to Joe Biden, specifically Ronna McDaniel. Ronna McRomney is the person who's been holding up this process, allegedly, according to the GOP chairman in Nebraska. This guy was on Charlie's show yesterday, and he said, I went directly to Ronna at the RNC and said, please, help us do this. Help us give Donald Trump more electoral votes. And the answer from Ronna was, I'm sorry, I don't think this is important. We've hammered it on the show time and time again, but remember The strategy was lose. Lose with dignity and grace, but lose. Okay? That was the official strategy of the RNC. And now we have the proof. Here we go.
But I even went to the RNC last year, Charlie. I had a meeting with Ronna McDaniel and said, I think this is something that's going to happen. I think this is something that can happen, but I need outside help. And I was basically told that it wasn't much of an importance. And so when you start to look at how I was going to influence this, I continued to use the volume of people. And now with what happened over the last 24 hours and your efforts, and as you were talking with Steve Bannon today, that effort of activating the grassroots have multiplied this a millionfold. I could never have imagined this happening.
Well, praise
but
God.
I
just want to repeat
exactly,
that, though.
Praise God.
Just under the prior RNC leadership who's gone, they said that another electoral vote for Republicans wasn't a big deal?
It was indicated that they couldn't do much from their level, and they really couldn't support me more than just she might talk with one or two elected officials here and see if there was any interest in it. That's what I was told.
Well, we have a different attitude around here.
Well, isn't that fascinating? So why has this electoral vote been going to Barack Obama? Why are electoral votes from red states going to Democrats? Because of weak Republicans and because of Republicans who wish to sabotage our party. This is now evident. In case you wonder why we went so hard at Ronna, this is the reason. Ronna McDaniel was told by the GOP chairman of Nebraska, we need your help. Please help us get this electoral vote to Donald Trump's column. It could literally be the difference in the election. Donald Trump doesn't have a path forward if he wins these swing states, and this red state gives our electoral vote to Joe Biden. Nebraska gets 3 electoral votes. Gives one of them to Joe Biden. Why the hell would we do that? It's insanity. We gave it to Joe Biden in 2020, and we handed it to Barack Obama in 2018. And Ronna's response was, I'm too busy. It doesn't matter. It's not important. So what's kind of curious about all that is if you watch the media's reaction to this, you can see that it actually is quite important because libs are losing their damn minds over this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's begin with the lib meltdown in Nebraska and we'll move outward, okay? So let's start from like let's go from the center outward, all right? In Nebraska, a liberal lawmaker having like an anaphylactic meltdown on the floor of the Nebraska House, like a screaming, raging tirade, in case you're wondering exactly how precious this little electoral vote is, in case you're wondering how many red sirens are flashing, that this was part of our strategy. Well, here's your response, right?
Pathetic worm Donald Trump thinks that he knows what's best for Nebraska and what Nebraskans want, but this man is building up the governor, obviously wants this electoral vote because he's so scared he can't win the presidency without it.
I want to throw up. And I want to go to bed, but I can't because I don't trust you. And you don't deserve to be trusted.
Play the screaming lib. It's the same thing. We got to replace their faces with the screaming lib. It's the same thing.
Now President of the United States.
How do you know that they're angry about this? Because they all have that same screaming lib reaction. It's the same thing. It's incredible. Okay, here's how CNN covered it. CNN explaining Joe Biden is in danger. This is a massive strategy that is causing a crisis for us, ladies and gentlemen. And Republicans just figured it out. Watch.
New tonight, could the election all come down to Nebraska? Donald Trump thinks so. He and his allies convincing Nebraska's Republican governor to support a major change in the way the state has been doling out its electoral college votes for the past 32 years. So right now, Nebraska splits its electoral college votes, and one of them is crucial to Biden's victory. And that one is the blue district of Omaha. Biden won that vote in 2020. Trump, though, is pushing for a statewide winner-take-all system, which would potentially deprive Biden of that crucial electoral vote. Now, the reason I say crucial, just look at this, one of Biden's easiest paths to re-election. If he holds the 3 swing states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin and loses the rest of them, right? So he's going to lose Georgia, lose all those. Biden gets to 269. Well, to win, you need 270. So obviously the difference there is 1, and that 1 vote would be the vote in Nebraska, the vote in Omaha, that gives Biden 270 and the win. But if this scenario plays out with Trump getting his way in Nebraska, then both of them are tied, 269 to 269. And then it will be the House of Representatives who makes the decision.
Ooh. Well, the smell of fear and panic in the morning. Check this out. The headlines say it all. Nebraska Republicans are ready to take the 1 electoral vote Biden needs most. We figured it out. Isn't that amazing? The 1 vote he needs most. They are losing it. This brings us to our Salt That Lib of the day. Of course, MSNBC in panic. The saltiest libs. I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, get your salt shakers out. Leave that sweet salt in the comment section. We are sodium deficient on this program. Special little thing we do. When we find a very salty lib, we salt them like a slug after a nice rainstorm on the sidewalk. And this one is particularly interesting. Again, remember, they only freak out when they feel threatened. It's like catching an animal in the wild, like in the rainforest. They only lose their mind. Losing your mind takes energy, and energy is not unlimited. And so they're freaking out because we caught them. They've been taking advantage of the weakness of a Republican state, and now we are muscling through and ending that weakness. And they're losing it, and they're so salty about it, ladies and gentlemen. Salt that lib of the day. Thanks, MSNBC.
Governor there has thrown his support behind an effort that would no longer allocate the electoral votes by congressional district. Because right now, it's 5 votes there. Typically, Republicans get 4, and President Biden, Democrats get the 1 from Omaha.
That's right.
If that changes, and we don't know that it will, the state legislature is going to look at it. But if that changes, that takes away Biden's best path to win. Because if he wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, but loses the other swing states and no longer picks up the 1 in Nebraska, 269. That leads playbook this morning, the alarm among Democrats that this is possible. What do you think?
I think this is what the modern Republican Party has become. They're now changing the rules in the middle, trying to benefit themselves. This is the hell that Donald Trump hath wrought. In the middle of this, changing the rules 200 days before the election is ridiculous. I think you're right. I think there are real simulation problems. When you look at the map, that 1 electoral vote really matters in the combination of other things. Then you need another state. And so the easiest pathway to victory has always been the Midwestern 3 states combined with Nebraska. Something tells me they're not going to get away with it this easy, and there will be a national outcry if you're trying to change the rules here. But it looks like...
Don't you just love it? It's like, oh, don't you just love it? It's like OJ complaining when somebody gets away with murder. These people changed every rule in the book, broke every rule in the book, unleashed pathogens for the 2020 election. And now they're screaming about rule changes. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Suck it up, Buttercup. Drink that salt. Somebody who is not sodium deficient. Somebody who salts libs for a living. And for the last 10 years, man, I've known this guy, and nobody has delivered more salt to the left than Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, host of The Charlie Kirk Show, joins the show now. So salty this morning, Charlie. Everyone is losing their minds, and they don't do this unless you really caught them, and it seems like you did here.
Well, I'm not taking credit for any of it. We just happened to notice something, and to kind of put the pressure of the audience and of our platform. And so we run these equations a lot, 270towin.com. I did a whole segment on the Nebraska thing months ago, and it just didn't catch fire. People just didn't care, and they're like, oh, whatever. And call it maybe just the collapse of the country. A lot of people feel as if they want to do something right now, that they wish the election was like today. And President Trump being the presumptive nominee, I mean, he is the nominee. All these factors and forces kind of came together, and just seeing how outrageous the Democrats have been behaving, it just was right place, right time. So we sent up this tweet and we said, hey, do you know that Donald Trump could win Nevada, win Arizona, win Georgia, and lose the presidency? And it was the tweet heard around the world. We did an entire show on it, impromptu, on our podcast, broadcast, every, streaming channel, Real America's Voice. And, we said, hey, contact the governor. And, I had no idea what to expect. 5 hours later, the governor of Nebraska comes in and he says, I'm in support of this. I'm like, wow. President Trump, a couple hours later, says, I'm in support of this. Again, I'm not taking credit for any of this. Credit to the great governor, credit to President Trump. Yesterday, Senator Ricketts, who really runs the state of Nebraska, former governor, very, very well-liked, very influential in the state of Nebraska. He comes out and he says, I'm in support of this. Now, there's some legislative hurdles that we're still working through, the parliamentarian stuff. The Democrats are freaking out. There are some moderates that are trying to, make this not happen. But the votes are there, meaning that it's just a matter of getting to the filibuster. I'm happy to go into that, Benny, if you want, but that's not as interesting. I'm confident that we can navigate this, and we're keeping the pressure on. I'm going to Nebraska next week, either to celebrate or to try to strategize to get this thing across the finish line, because the powers to be are aligning in Nebraska, and the significance of this is profound. If we are able to get this done, this takes an electoral vote from Joe Biden and allows Nebraska to be in alignment with 49 other states of how they count their electoral votes.
So these headlines are wild, Charlie. Again, it only hurts when you push on something that's infected. They only scream when it really hurts them, when they're really upset about something. Here we go from Forbes this morning. Here's why Nebraska could cost Biden the election. These are the headlines that are being written right now about this strategy. So clearly, and we've just played segment after segment of libs just losing their minds over this. I mean, you've really unleashed the whirlwind, as it were. They're going to try to stop this. What's the best path forward? We did cover the news that there was a flip in the Senate. Maybe this is just providential. But there was a flip in the Senate. Now there's a filibuster-proof majority, I believe, in the Nebraska.
If that Democrat votes in favor of this, which we don't know. So last night, someone tried to attach it to an amendment. That failed. That's fine. There's going to be another attachment. The governor could call a special session under this one subject, which is great. The governor has voiced support of this, right? The president has voiced support. So there's so many options at our disposal to get this done. We just have to have the will to get this done. Currently, there is one holdout that we know of. His name is Senator Brandt. I encourage your audience, if you want to contact him, we have all that information that we're going to put on our program. If you do so, be super polite, respectful. These people are patriots that have honestly been thrown into like this national conversation, and this bill was like completely dead. So, they're still making up their minds, and I think that they're going to listen to their voters, and I think they're going to make the right decision. So just be sweet and be respectful. It's Senator Brandt from Nebraska. Happy to show the information there. But yeah, and he's a great patriot. A lot of these guys are all of a sudden like, wait, what do I stand on this? I don't even know it was a bill. And they so the vote tally has been increasing the last couple of days as Nebraskans have been very warmly, very in a Midwestern charming way, making their voice heard. I want to emphasize this, though, Benny. One of the reasons why this is driving the Democrats in disarray, and you better believe Joe Biden has probably been briefed on this personally. You probably forgot about it. Kamala Harris, the entire Biden team, they're freaking out over this because they were unprepared. Yeah. And this is an organization that prides themselves on running superior political machinery that is constantly crunching numbers, that is constantly working with data. They plan everything out, right, Benny? They always have a plan. In 2020, they had a plan for everything. Mark Elias, they didn't have a plan for this. They thought that Nebraska session would just kind of fade into the sunset, that this thing was over. Again, I don't want to celebrate yet. This is not done. But with the people that have voiced support, the governor, President Trump, and Senator Ricketts, the former governor, I would be shocked if if we are not able to figure this out. The votes are there. The support of the people. Nebraska is there. It's blood red. There might be some failed votes procedurally along the way. I encourage your audience just to make this the top priority, especially if you want to see Donald Trump become president in November. And think about it. What else can you do in the next 10 to 14 days to guarantee that Donald Trump gets another electoral vote. And it's even bigger than that, Benny. It now puts Nevada in play. Without this, Nevada means nothing, meaning that there is really no combination where Nevada is important unless you win Nevada, lose Arizona, and win Pennsylvania, which is like one of the least likely combinations. That's like as goofy as you get. Now Donald Trump can become president while losing Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, if Nebraska fixes this. This makes the blue wall not the blue wall. All of a sudden now Joe Biden has to expand his map. He has to go campaign out west. It weakens his budget to be able to spend in those 3 states, where Joe Biden wanted to just go all in on 3 states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. Nebraska does this. It jeopardizes that entire plan. Joe Biden now has to run a much more national campaign. So strategically, it throws a huge curveball into the Democrats' plans. And it's also good for Nebraska. That's the most important thing, is that why should a city, Omaha, get its own electoral vote? That make an argument if the entire country does that. That system might be better aligned, but it's not the way it works, right? I mean, Texas, all the votes go to the winner. California, all the votes go to the winner. So basically, you're appropriating a disproportionate amount of weight on the metro area of Omaha that has been tiltingly over liberal. I mean, they have major college campuses, Creighton University, University of Nebraska, Omaha, huge medical centers, and a lot of out-of-state liberals have been moving to Omaha. It's a nice place to live, and like they do to a lot of metro areas. So why should they be able to effectively disenfranchise the collective political power of the entire state of Nebraska? It doesn't make any sense. And please, Benny, sorry.
This is something that happens in your home state of Illinois, because there's one county in Illinois that flips the state for Joe Biden. You can see that in the numbers, the 2020 numbers. There's a single county, Cook County, that flips the state for Joe Biden. Without that county, Donald Trump wins walking away.
Yeah, and so imagine how silly it would be if, let's just take a super red state that we count on, Tennessee, and like Memphis gets its own electoral vote. Or I mean, or if we said, in a state that we reliably win, like South Carolina, like North Charleston gets its own electoral vote. I could go through the list. It just wouldn't. This is the politics of power, and this is where Republicans are not very well versed in this, because some Republicans say, well, who are we to try to act as if, it's like, we want to win, man. Like, it's very simple. Like, do you want to win or do you want to lose? And right now, if you say you want to win, and this is why I'm so impressed by the governor of Nebraska and Senator Ricketts, who I think are terrific for voicing their leadership here, because they're leaning in and the media is coming after them. They have a lot of political muscle in Nebraska, and it's my hope that they really they get this done. I mean, they're the ones that more than just voicing support can get this thing to completion. And I imagine that them voicing support, they're going to put some political muscle behind this. I really am.
On your show yesterday, you had Eric Underwood, who is the GOP chairman of Nebraska.
Yes.
And if you want to ask why hasn't something like this been done, it's because, according to the GOP chairman of the state, who would know, he went to the RNC leadership, Ronna McDaniel, and she laughed in his face. And he begged her for help, and she says this is not important. And the follow-up question is, not getting Donald Trump electoral votes is not important to the RNC chairwoman?
Or just
how is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, yes, of course, Donald Trump, who was going to be the nominee, but you're the chair of the RNC. So let's pretend if it's, DeSantis or Nikki Haley, which is very low likelihood of happening. It's your job as the RNC chair to try and get more electoral votes for the president. And she basically says to Eric Underwood, yeah, it's not important. The RNC could have got this done. The RNC could have combined forces. They could have flown out there, met with the governor. This, by the way, Benny, this is not like the best case scenario as far as like we're kind of running out of time in this legislative session. We might have to go to a special session. We have to like attach it to bills. This is all just kind of because we started this conversation this week, right? If the RNC would have done their job and Ronna McRomney would have been the actual chair of the RNC instead of doing whatever she did this last year, investing in flower budgets or whatever, then this could have been settled back in August, where it could have been done as a priority bill. They could have done the vote counting. You know what I mean? Like this now in a strange way, though, God works in mysterious ways. If this ends up happening the way it looks like it will, it makes it less likely for Maine to be able to counter. Now, Maine is a Democrat state. that does their electoral votes also based on congressional district. And Donald Trump wins, and he will win again, the 2nd congressional district of Maine, which is northern Maine. So Maine could counter and say, we're going to go to winner take all. But since this is happening so unexpectedly, since this is happening in such an organic way and so late in the legislative calendar, it's not impossible. It just makes it harder and less likely for Maine to counter. And also, I mean, you heard that Jim Messina, he's like, I think it's wrong that Nebraska is going to change the election rules. Like, okay, I mean, I'm sure you'd be supportive if, Maine were to do something like this.
I'm sure you'd be supportive of Pennsylvania illegally mailing votes to everyone, right? I'm sure you'd be supportive of that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. And this is my ultimate question. You sort of led into it a little bit in your answer there, is why does it fall to you, right? Why does it fall to the activist class? There is a professional consultant class who makes hundreds of millions of dollars off of Republican elections, running Republican elections. And let's just rewind the clock. Let's not even rewind the clock back to like our lifetimes when this could have been an issue that any Republican had dealt with over the past 30 years. Let's just go to 2020. Like, everyone saw the results of 2020 and nobody said, what's wrong with Nebraska? Why don't we flip this thing? Right? Nobody thought about that. Why does it fall to the activist class to always push these things when there are people making fortunes off the Republican Party for losing?
I mean, look, we care, Benny. We're in it for the right reasons, and we hate to lose. And we don't just, do what we do and like say, oh, we're going to go on home. I want to see this Nebraska thing get done, and credit to the governor and credit to the senator. I think they wanted to get this done for a while, and maybe it just wasn't a priority. But from the national Republicans,
yes,
my complaint is not with the Nebraskans, because this is a tradition they've had now for 30 years. It is what it is. Okay, fine, great. And they're doing the right thing. They're fixing it, right? And they understand the implications. And it just so happens that in prior years, the math wasn't as precise. And understand, the reason why it's coming is because we did a census, so we have a new electoral map, right? So Montana gained an electoral vote, Illinois lost one. So it just so happens all of a sudden this one congressional district has a ton of power that in 2020 it didn't have. But what does the RNC do other than like sit around and run numbers and be like, if Joe Biden wins Michigan and he wins Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Trump wins Maine too, holds on to Iowa, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, flips Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, which he's up in all three of those polls, then it goes to a 269 to 269 tie, goes to the House of the Representatives, where every state gets one vote, and Donald Trump becomes president. So now all of a sudden what you've done is you've opened up a completely new avenue for us to win the presidency. And I don't know why. I guess it's just right place, right time. It's divine timing, Benny. We happen to send out the tweet, and you never know when these things are going to hit. You know that better than anybody else. I didn't know if the tweet was just going to be ignored and eyes were going to roll. But again, credit to the governor. He listened to the grassroots. And I want to see now the governor take this to completion. And he and the great Patriots, Nebraska, they're going to be heroes. They are going to be heroes if they get this done. We will celebrate them. We will remember them. We will honor them. Yes. It will be a significant win for the movement. And I'll say there's no excuse. Even if they run out of time in this session, just do a special session, get it done. The Nebraska can do attitude. Nebraska has 900,000 registered voters. 600,000 of them are Republican. 300,000 of them are Democrat. Right? This is not a close call.
Republicans may take the one electoral, and these headlines are unbelievable, Charlie. The one electoral vote Biden needs most. The panic. They're losing it. We have a meme that we created just for you. We wanted to play it for you before we switch topics really quickly here. This is a meme of Joe Biden having this explained. You said that Joe Biden was briefed on this. We actually had leaked. Okay, we have leaked footage of this. Here we go.
To me, like a normal liberal.
So we actually have this footage. Don't ask our sources, but we have this footage from inside of the White House War Room. Joe Biden getting this explained to him. Moving to Donald Trump, because very few people have been called Donald Trump's fourth son, right? You're not tall enough, I think, maybe. I've seen the new photos of Barron, so I don't know. I'm going to need a 23andMe. That's right. I need a 23andMe here, but you're pretty tall, and on tall order, you speak with the president quite a bit. He's going to be hosting one hell of a fundraiser this weekend. According to Axios,
record-breaking.
he made double the amount that Joe Biden raised. We have the article. We'll pop it up here. I just want to get you to sound off on this.
Yeah, I don't think Lizzo will be there. I don't think Queen Latifah will be there. I don't think Stephen Colbert will be there. This is massive. I have been very impressed with Susie Wiles and Chris LaSavita and Michael Watley and Laura Trump. You have to raise a war chest. And our side has to realize that. You need the resources to win. The bad guys have been trouncing us when it comes to raising capital. This is a signal, big time. A signal that we are not going to have more money, but we should have enough money in the ecosystem to be able to win. You factor that in with the Nebraska news and also the great news out of Wisconsin this week, where they banned Zucker boxes. And they also said that the procedures election manual must be followed word for word and that election officials cannot make up their own election rules 30 days before, which sounds really simple, but it's now been officially passed as a ballot referendum. So huge news out of Wisconsin this week that jeopardizes, having these oligarch-funded Center for Technology of Civic Life drop boxes on every corner in Wisconsin that were illegally administered back in the 2020 election. Look, I'm not going to say we're going to win because we have no, Benny, they're going to throw stuff at us. We know that in the coming months, right? They're going to throw all sorts of stuff at us. But you could tell whether or not you are hitting a pressure point based on their reaction. And again, if the Nebraska thing meant nothing, they would be like, silly Charlie Kirk getting another electoral vote. Who cares? No. They're like, you are messing with our math and the takeover. Again, this is not a Charlie Kirk thing. This is not a turning point thing. This is a Nebraska thing. We just happen to do right place, right time. We sent out the tweet, went super viral. And we're prayerfully trying to assist and help the people in Nebraska get this done. And I'll be in Nebraska on Tuesday to try to make it happen.
That's right, guys. Let's pop up that event so that the audience can see it.
Yeah.
There it is right there. This is going to be Tuesday, April 9th in Omaha.
Hopefully a celebration event. But if it's not done on Tuesday, I'm going to just say no excuses, guys. Like, let's get this done. You have the votes. You have the popular will. You have the governor. Do a special session. Do whatever you have to do. I understand it's late in the calendar, but we will not allow this thing to die on the vine. Too much momentum, too much popular support. Let's get it done.
In case you're wondering if watching these shows, if there's any power, if there's any political power that we have as we're doing this and what the action points are, or is this all just about people ranting? No, this is like proof that these shows are powerful, that we can actually change the country. And more importantly, that we're actually in charge of our party. Rauna's gone, right? McConnell gone. We're in charge of our party and we're able to flip an electoral vote to Trump. There you go.
Let's get it done. We're almost there. All right, Benny, I got to do my show.
Thanks, Charlie.
See ya. Thanks. Bye.
Everyone go follow Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk Show. Ladies and gentlemen, streaming everywhere. But how exciting is that? This is actually like unbelievably exciting. It's a wild moment where we're able to do the work that our Republican Party abandoned, right? The work that should have been done by these consultants who, and I know how much these people make. I mean, these people make massive fortunes losing. And we're able to, with just the grassroots, flip a switch and say, no, we're not going to be losers. I don't want to lose as an America First patriot. I want to win as an America First patriot. It's not about losing with grace and with my head held high. I want to win with my head held high and then to carry our priorities into the halls of power. That is what this is actually about, isn't it? Right? Oh, wow. Like there's this great meme of like libs and gas masks like during the nuclear fallout. And it's like, well, but at least Trump's not president, right? Like the entire city, the entire country's been destroyed. No, we want to prevent that from happening. I want that for my children, my family. Those are my motivations. I'm pretty clear about that. Like, I don't want power because I'm some sick person who doesn't believe in God. And I just want power because I'm demonic. I want power to save the country from these Marxist monsters. And you must have power to do that. And that is something that Power politics is something the Republican Party is so weak on. I don't know why. They have such a glass jaw, such limp wrist. And it was explained to me once at a private dinner by somebody who holds really high office. Yeah, this wasn't said in comedy. It was Ted Cruz. So Senator Ted Cruz is like, says, I was like, why are Republicans such pussies? And he's like, because we've forgotten how to rule, he said. He said, we've forgotten how to wield power. The left will have like a half a seat majority. Okay? The half a seat majority. So like, and they'll change the country forever. Barack Obama didn't have the House of Representatives, didn't have the Senate, and ended up changing the country forever. He said he's going to fundamentally transform America, is what he said. Because the left decides to use their political muscle and to actually deliver on the priorities of their psychotic Marxist base, their farthest left-wing base, then you end up seeing the country go the way it's going. They're set for the destruction of the country. There has to be a force that is equal and opposite and greater than that to save this place. And so you have to be willing to use power. You cannot, this is not a time for weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men. This is a time for strong men, ladies and gentlemen. And so, this is what we're going to do. Donald Trump, a strong man, campaign on track to $43 million night in Palm Beach this weekend. It's very, very interesting. Let's read really quickly. We covered this, but let's break it down. Former President Trump is on track to raise $43 million in fundraiser in Palm Beach on Saturday. Billionaire Republican donors coming forward and saying, nope, this is our man. Trump's inaugural leadership dinner, led by hedge fund billionaire John Paulson, tops out at a chairman level of $800,000, which includes dinner seating at the President Trump's table. The event will feature First Lady Melania Trump and three of Trump's former primary opponent, including Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, in case you're wondering who's going to fill out the cabinet. There you go. The source familiar with the event planning tells Axios the event is greatly exceeding expectations and shows the Republican Party is united behind President Trump. And the eye-popping total personal phone calls by Trump, peer-to-peer asks, billionaire-to-billionaire conversations. As we all know, Donald Trump did have a meeting with Elon Musk recently. Elon Musk has sort of backed away and said, I don't know if I'm going to like totally throw myself in involvement in the 2024 election, but I will not be voting for Joe Biden. And so these are all positive things, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you use Elon Musk's X app. It is an awesome app. We are thankful for all of our streaming partners, and we're thankful for our entire audience. As you are using that app, you won't be able to get access to this show unless you have dependable wireless coverage. That's why we use Patriot Mobile on this program. They are the only Christian conservative wireless provider that believes 100% core free speech values. That's why we use them. Patriot Mobile, ladies and gentlemen, available on all three major networks. 100% US-based customer service. Can make the switch today. They will never cancel you or give your data to the deep state, right? That was something that was going on over the past couple of years. Super creepy stuff from like Verizon and the other big carriers. So ladies and gentlemen, go to patriotmobile.com today. /Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code Benny. Make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/Benny. So what do final story of the day. We gotta do it because it's like gotta do it because we got criticized. I read the comments. I read as many comments as I possibly can. I love the comment section on this program, and I love you. And we do a ton of reporting based on your comment, right? We feel that energy. Part of the reason why we were able to go so hard at Rana is because you told me that you really don't like Rana. I really don't like Rana, and so it's a match made in heaven. But ladies and gentlemen, some people were like, another Fani Willis show? Come on! Why would you go after Fani Willis? You push where there's mush, okay? Horrible thing to say, given the circumstances that we know about Fani Willis. But what else is there? It's a soft spot in the Democrat phalanx attacking Donald Trump. Fani Willis is a deeply depraved person. She is hilariously stupid. She wears her dresses backwards and her American flag pins upside down. And she rants and raves at the court and loses her damned mind. She's also caught up, of course, inside of her own little witch's kitchen, rat's nest of other dumbasses with her. And so, like, going at them and exposing that is really important. We in this program obviously take the topics that we cover very, very seriously, and we want to obviously push the momentum of this program into real effective change. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, we were right. We were right. Fani Willis' special prosecutor, Nathan's hot dog, is accused of contempt of court by ex-wife failing to pay medical bills, had affair with Willis while prosecuting Trump. Oh my, now he's been sued. Okay. It just kind of shows you the timber of people that are coming after Donald Trump. It's really important, obviously, in battle to make sure that you are upright and protected if you're going to come after Donald Trump for a RICO case, and that you yourself are not involved in a RICO case. And that is exactly what we are finding out here. Isn't that interesting? The iron law of wokeism, isn't it? The iron law of wokeism. Accuse your enemies of that which you are currently engaging in and guilty of. Scandal hit special prosecutor Nathan's hot dog has been accused of contempt of court by his estranged wife in a new divorce filing. Jocelyn Wade, the wife of Nathan Wade, who Fani Willis was home wrecking with and cheating on a married man with. Yikes, don't check what Jesus has to say about that in the Gospels as you clothe yourself on the pulpit of the church, Fani. Gracious, good. I'd be watch the weather. Make sure there's no lightning in the forecast the next time you do that, Big Fani. Jocelyn Wade made the accusation in court papers filed Wednesday, claiming that her former partner had failed to pay $4,400 worth of medical bills. Defendant, that seems like a relatively de minimis small amount, given the fact that you've made millions off this Trump prosecution. You can't reach into your pocket for pocket change to give your wife some medical bill money. Defendant urgently requires medical procedures, so on and so forth, due to severe physical symptoms that she has been enduring. Symptoms have significantly impacted her ability to consume most foods, so on and so forth, weight loss. She claims she is unable to pay the bills herself since Wade stopped paying child support for their 2 children. Oh, interesting. So they have children together. I didn't actually know this. I didn't know how many children Nathan Wade had. So, wow, Fani Willis is like an actual vicious, demonic homewrecker. Got it. They're not sending their best, as it were, ladies and gentlemen. Nathan Wade sued.
Ex-Trump special prosecutor Nathan Wade is being sued by his wife. Court filings say he failed to pay for her urgent medical procedures. Wade is also accused of not paying over $4,000 in child support. This comes just weeks after he resigned as lead prosecutor on the Georgia election case against former President Donald Trump. Wade was accused of having an improper romantic relationship with DA Fani Willis.
Truly a shame, ladies and gentlemen. Truly shame. Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, I really look forward. I mean, God has his own timing on this kind of stuff. God has his own judgment on this kind of stuff. It's important to step back, right? And obviously recognize that we ourselves are here to just kind of like enjoy the collapse and the downfall. It rains. The rain falls on the wicked and the good, right? As the Bible says. But holy moly, man. Holy moly. It is really, really something to watch. This collapse and this downfall, to recognize that this guy had multiple children with his wife, and he has to provide for those children. And in the meantime, he's sitting here defrauding the taxpayers, lying on the stand, humiliating himself. No wonder the woman is under duress and has medical issues. Could you imagine flipping on the TV and seeing your husband, a father of your children, the man that you built, as it were, as Tasha K says on this program, the man you built, Tasha K comes on and is like, nobody cares about the black woman. Fani Willis talks about, you're coming after a black woman. You don't talk about his wife, who is also a black woman, right? Does anybody care about her? The person who was home wrecked here, who had the father of her children stolen from her by Fani Willis? Fani Willis saying, I'm not going to emasculate a black man. Well, you just did, okay? You're sitting there, you're having your cup of coffee in the morning, you flip on the TV, and you see your husband being asked the toughest question on earth. Did you ever go to a cabin? Tough stuff. Watch.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
All this time we've been together, thought a thing would last forever. Through thick and thin, good or bad, all I was happy, never sad. Now it's all gone sour, getting worse by the hour. Let's break up. No.
You've never gone to a cabin with this?
No.
We know that's not accurate because none of the outfits were on backwards, okay? We know that's not accurate. We know it's not. I think that that's an AI fake. I think it's a fake. I don't know. Apparently, that's directly from the court feed. We're not sure. We're going to have to look into it, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm guessing that that's inaccurate because none of the outfits were on backwards. But you'll never know. You'll never know. Join the Benny Brigade, ladies and gentlemen, to keep us independent so that we can do shows like this and we can make sure that we sound off, pop off on these kind of issues, play you those funny memes. If you go to BennyJohnson.com, sign up for the brigade, keep us independent. The cost of a French fry at McDonald's. We actually looked this up. The cost of a large French fry at McDonald's is what it costs to keep us independent. And we say thank you just for watching. Our goal at this company, and my team is so sick of hearing it, our goal at this company is to serve our audience better than anyone in the business, to be live, to be covering news, to be available, and to be hustling and grinding and doing the work. And you, as an audience, should be able to see that, like, this stuff actually matters, that we're actually fixing the country. What a special moment. What a blessed time to be alive. This is our time. God put you here at this moment. God doesn't make mistakes, okay? You were put here for a purpose. You weren't born in the wrong era. You weren't born at the wrong time. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a reason, right? What is that reason? You know, my purpose is my children, my family. And it's good to be centered about that, right? Be centered about the reason God put you here, because God doesn't make mistakes, okay? Let's center ourselves with a verse of the day from Psalms 94. Who rises up for me against the wicked? Who stands for me against the evildoers? If the Lord had not been my help, my soul would soon have lived in the land of silence. I would die, effectively, right? David writes here. So, like, what is the point of all of this? The point of all of this is that God upholds us, and that without God, this place is a sunken. We live in a sunken place, right? And we need His help, but also that we need not fear, because God is all powerful. We need to fear one thing alone, and that's God, and that's it. Not fear anything else. We are already victorious. God is already our help. And God stands up for us against evildoers. According to this Psalm 94, God rises up against the wicked on our behalf. Come on. That Old Testament right into my veins. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Benny. March with us, happy warriors in the Benny Brigade. We'll see ya.